The Forgotten Fleet. The Discovery. Commander Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal of the observation deck as her ship, the exploration vessel New Horizon, drifted toward the massive objects floating in the void. What they had discovered defied everything humanity thought it knew about its own history. 3 enormous vessels, each stretching over 8 kilometers in length, hung motionless in the darkness between star systems like sleeping giants. "Scan results are in, Commander," reported Lieutenant Marcus Webb from his station. "The hull composition is unlike anything in our databases. The metal appears to be a titanium-neutronium alloy that we've never seen before. And, Commander, the energy readings suggest these ships are still functional." Sarah felt her breath catch. Humanity had only been traveling between stars for 400 years since joining the Galactic Federation. They were considered one of the younger species, barely given a voice in galactic affairs. Yet here were human ships that appeared to be thousands of years old. "Are you certain they're human vessels?" she asked, though the evidence was clear. The basic design structure, despite its massive size and advanced materials, followed human engineering principles. More importantly, faded letters along the hull spelled out words in ancient Earth languages. "Definitely human, Commander," Webb confirmed. "But they're using technology that's centuries ahead of anything we have now, maybe even ahead of what the Altarian Empire uses, and they're supposed to have the most advanced fleet in the galaxy." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the team's synoarchaeologist, looked up from her analysis tablet. "Commander, I'm reading inscription patterns that match early human colonization scripts. But these date back at least 3,000 years, possibly more. That's impossible according to our historical records." Sarah made her decision. "Prepare the shuttle. I want a boarding team ready in 20 minutes. We're going to find out exactly what these ships are and how they got here." First contact with the past. The airlock of the lead vessel opened with surprising ease, as if it had been waiting for their arrival. Sarah led her team through corridors that seemed designed for a much larger crew than modern human ships carried. Everything was pristine, preserved by the vacuum of space and some kind of advanced stasis field. "The atmosphere is breathable," reported Chief Engineer Rodriguez as they moved deeper into the ship. "Life support systems are running on minimal power, but they're still functional after all this time. Commander, this technology is incredible." They reached what appeared to be the bridge, a vast circular chamber with dozens of control stations arranged around a central command chair. As soon as they entered, lights began activating throughout the room. Displays came to life, showing star charts and navigation data that Sarah didn't recognize. "Welcome aboard the UES Dominator," a voice said from hidden speakers. The words were in perfect modern English, though with a slightly archaic accent. "I am AEGI's Advanced Electronic Guardian Intelligence System. I have been waiting for human contact for 3,247 years, 8 months, and 16 days." Sarah stepped forward, her heart racing. "AEGIS, I'm Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran Exploration Corps. Can you tell us about this ship and its crew?" "Commander Chen, it is an honor to meet you. The Dominator is a Titan-class battleship of the original human empire, commissioned in the year 2387 of the imperial calendar. We are part of the Eternal Watch, tasked with protecting human space from threats beyond the galactic rim." The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. Original human empire. AEGIS, according to our records, humans only achieved interstellar travel 400 years ago. We've never had an empire. There was a pause that seemed to stretch forever. When AEGIS spoke again, the artificial intelligence sounded confused and concerned. "Commander, that is impossible. Humanity has controlled this sector of the galaxy for over 4,000 years. We fought the War of Shadows to establish these territories. The cost was enormous, but we secured these star systems for future generations." Dr. Vasquez was frantically checking her historical databases. "Commander, there are no records of any War of Shadows or an original human empire. Our earliest space travel records begin with the first colony ships sent to Alpha Centauri. AEGS, Sarah said carefully. Can you show us your historical records? We need to understand what happened. The main display lit up with star charts showing human territory stretching across hundreds of systems. Battle reports scrolled past, describing conflicts with entities called the Shadow Collective. The dates were all from a time period that should have been humanity's Stone Age according to modern history books. Commander, AEGS said, I'm detecting something troubling. My long-range sensors show that many of the star systems marked as human colonies are now occupied by alien species. The Kethvar Dominion, the Zephyrian Republic, and others have built their civilizations in what should be human space. The Awakening. As if responding to AEGS's revelation, other systems throughout the ship began activating. Deep in the vessel's core, cryogenic pods started their revival sequences. The crew of the Dominator was waking up after millennia of sleep. Commander, came a new voice over the intercom. This is Admiral Marcus Kane of the original Human Empire. I'm in the medical bay with my senior staff. We need to understand what has happened to our civilization. Sarah and her team made their way to the medical section, where they found dozens of people emerging from stasis pods. These ancient humans looked no different from modern humanity, but their bearing and the way they carried themselves spoke of a military discipline that had been forged in actual warfare. Admiral Kane was a tall man with graying hair and eyes that had seen too much combat. When he saw Sarah's uniform, he nodded with respect, but also confusion. Commander, your insignia is unfamiliar to me. What branch of the Imperial Navy do you serve? Admiral, Sarah said gently, I serve the Terran Exploration Corps. We're part of the Galactic Federation. According to our records, there has never been an original human empire. Kane's expression grew cold. That's impossible. I was fighting the Shadow War when we were ordered into stasis. High Command said we were needed to guard against their return. We've been asleep for a few decades. Admiral, Dr. Vasquez said softly, you've been in stasis for over 3,000 years. The galaxy has changed completely. Humanity is now considered a junior species in the Galactic Federation. We control only a few dozen systems. Kane stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned to one of his officers. Colonel Thompson, what's our ship's status? All systems are green, Admiral. Weapons are at full power, shields are operational. The entire Eternal Watch fleet is showing ready status. We have 47 Titan-class battleships and supporting vessels spread across the galaxy. Kane nodded grimly. Commander Chen, it seems we have a great deal to discuss. But first, I need to understand how humanity went from controlling hundreds of systems to being a minor power in our own galaxy. The truth revealed. In the ship's briefing room, Admiral Kane and his senior staff listened as Sarah and her team explained the current state of galactic politics. The Galactic Federation was dominated by species like the Altarians and the Kethvar, with humanity holding only observer status in most decisions. The Federation claims that humanity developed space travel only 4 centuries ago, Dr. Vasquez explained. According to their records, we were a primitive species that they helped advance technologically. Kane's tactical officer, Commander Rebecca Stone, looked up from a datapad. Admiral, I've been reviewing current star charts. Every single system that we marked as a human colony is now claimed by alien species. The Kethvar Dominion alone occupies 47 former human worlds. That's because those systems have been inhabited by the Kethvar for over 2,000 years, Sarah said. They have ancient cities and established civilizations on those worlds. Kane stood up slowly, his face showing a mixture of anger and determination. Commander Chen, I need you to understand something. The War of Shadows wasn't just a territorial conflict. We were fighting for humanity's survival against entities that wanted to erase our species from existence. The cost was enormous. Entire worlds were rendered uninhabitable. Billions of humans died. He activated a holographic display showing battle footage from the ancient war. Sarah and her team watched in amazement as human fleets engaged massive dark ships that seemed to absorb light itself. "We won," Kane continued, "but at a terrible price. Earth's population was reduced to a few million survivors. Our colonies were devastated. The decision was made to put the Eternal Watch fleet into stasis, to guard against the Shadow Collective's return while humanity rebuilt." "But what happened to the survivors?" Sarah asked. "How did humanity lose all memory of the Empire?" HFY's voice filled the room. "I believe I can answer that, Commander. During the final battle of the War of Shadows, the enemy deployed what our scientists called a memory cascade weapon. It was designed to erase the historical records and cultural memory of entire civilizations." Kane nodded grimly. "The weapon was partially successful. While it didn't destroy humanity, it erased most of our historical records and technological knowledge. The survivors had to start over, essentially becoming a primitive species again." The galactic response. News of the discovery spread quickly through the galaxy. Within hours, the Galactic Federation Council was in emergency session. The revelation that humanity had once been a dominant galactic power threatened the established order. Ambassador Vextar of the Kethfar Dominion was among the first to respond. His species had built their entire civilization on worlds that had apparently once belonged to humanity. "This changes nothing," he declared over the interstellar communication network. "These claims are ancient history. Our species have inhabited these worlds for millennia." But Admiral Kane was not interested in diplomatic discussions. As more of the Eternal Watch fleet powered up across the galaxy, he sent a clear message to the Federation Council. "Leaders of the galaxy," his voice broadcast on all channels, "I am Admiral Marcus Kane of the original human empire. We have awakened to find that our territories have been occupied and our people have been reduced to second-class citizenship in their own space. This will not continue." Sarah watched from the bridge of the Dominator as scan results came in from across the galaxy. The ancient human ships were enormous, armed with weapons that her sensors couldn't even properly analyze. Each vessel carried enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. "Admiral," she said carefully, "the Federation will respond to this as a threat. They have thousands of ships across the galaxy." Kane smiled grimly. "Commander, during the War of Shadows, we faced enemies that could destroy star systems. The Federation has never fought a real war. Their ships are built for patrol duties and minor conflicts, not for the kind of warfare we were designed for." Rising tensions. The Altarian Empire, traditionally the strongest military power in the Federation, moved 3 full battle fleets toward human space. Admiral Zexani, their supreme commander, contacted Kane directly. "Human," the Altarian said in his translated voice, "you will surrender these vessels immediately. The Federation cannot allow ancient warships of unknown capabilities to threaten galactic peace." Kane's response was swift and decisive. "Admiral Zexani, you are currently in human space without permission. I suggest you withdraw your fleets immediately." "Human space?" Zexani laughed. "Humans control a handful of systems granted to them by Federation charity. You have no claim to this region." Kane activated the ship's tactical display, showing the positions of both fleets. "Admiral, I'm looking at 12 Altarian vessels approaching our position. Each of your ships masses approximately 800,000 tons and carries standard plasma weaponry. The Dominator alone masses 4.2 million tons and carries weapons that your shields cannot stop. Would you like a demonstration?" The challenge hung in space between the two fleets. Sarah realized she was witnessing a moment that would determine the future of humanity's place in the galaxy. The Eternal Watch fleet represented power that the Federation had never seen before, but they were vastly outnumbered by the combined might of dozens of alien species. "Admiral Kane," she said quietly, "are you prepared to start a galactic war?" Kane looked at her with eyes that had seen the worst of conflict. "Commander Chen, sometimes war is necessary to secure peace. Humanity sacrificed everything to protect this galaxy from the Shadow Collective. We will not allow our reward to be permanent subjugation. As the two fleets faced each other in the darkness of space, ancient human technology awakened. The reckoning begins. Assessment and preparation. Admiral Kane stood in the war room of the Dominator, surrounded by holographic displays showing the current state of galactic civilization. His senior staff had been working around the clock to understand how the galaxy had changed during their long sleep. The results were both shocking and infuriating. Report. Kane ordered as his officers gathered around the central table. The galaxy. The Eternal Watch was stirring, and the balance of galactic power was about to shift forever. Commander Stone activated the display. Admiral, we've now made contact with 38 of the 47 Eternal Watch vessels. All ships report full operational status. Total fleet strength: 38 Titan-class battleships, 46 Omega-class cruisers, and 92 support vessels. What about our former territories? Kane asked. The situation is worse than we initially thought, Stone replied. Every single human colony world from the original empire is now occupied by alien species. The Kethvar Dominion has claimed 47 systems, the Altarian Empire holds 31, and the Zephyrian Republic occupies 28. They've built entire civilizations on our worlds. Dr. Vasquez, who had remained aboard the Dominator to help with historical research, looked up from her datapad. Admiral, I've been studying the Federation's historical records. According to their official history, these alien species have inhabited those worlds for thousands of years. They genuinely believe those territories belong to them. Kane's expression hardened. Doctor, during the War of Shadows, we evacuated over 2 billion humans from those worlds. They're not alien territories. They're human graveyards where our ancestors died defending this galaxy. Agius's voice filled the room. Admiral, I've completed my analysis of current galactic military capabilities. The combined Federation fleet numbers approximately 12,000 vessels of various classes. However, their technology is significantly inferior to our own. Their most advanced ships are roughly equivalent to our light cruisers from the early war period. Commander Chen, who had become the unofficial liaison between the ancient humans and modern humanity, stepped forward. Admiral, before you make any decisions, you need to understand the current situation. The Federation has kept peace for over 1,000 years. They've never faced a threat like the Eternal Watch fleet. Commander, Kane replied, peace built on the theft of human worlds and the subjugation of our people is not peace at all. It's occupation. The demonstration. The Federation Council had demanded a meeting with Admiral Kane to discuss the crisis of awakened human warships. Kane agreed, but on his terms. The meeting would take place in the Kepler system, once a major human industrial center, now the capital of the Kethvar Dominion. As the Dominator dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler Prime, Kane observed the planet through the main viewer. Massive alien cities covered the surface where human settlements once stood. Orbital stations that had been built with human technology floated in space, now serving alien masters. Incoming transmission from the Federation fleet, reported the communications officer. Admiral Zexani is requesting permission to come aboard. Granted, Kane said, but make sure he understands he's boarding a human vessel in human space. The Altarian Admiral materialized on the bridge via transport beam, accompanied by Federation Ambassador Velterra and Kethvar Governor Rexnal. The three aliens looked around the ancient human bridge with expressions of barely concealed awe and concern. Admiral Kane. Ambassador Velterra began. The Federation Council has sent us to resolve this situation peacefully. We understand that your ships are of historical significance, but you cannot make territorial claims based on ancient history. Kane gestured toward the main viewer, showing Kepler Prime. Ambassador, that world was once home to 300 million humans. They built the cities you see on the surface. They developed the technology that still powers your orbital stations. Every human on that planet died defending it from the Shadow Collective. Governor Rexnell stepped forward, his scaled features showing irritation. Admiral, my people have inhabited Kepler Prime for over 2,000 years. We have ancient ruins and cultural sites that predate any human presence. Governor, Kane said quietly, your people built those ancient ruins on the foundations of human cities. AGDs, show them the historical records. The bridge filled with holographic images of Kepler Prime during the War of Shadows. The aliens watched in shocked silence as human fleets battled massive dark ships in orbit around the planet. The surface showed thriving human cities under bombardment, with millions of civilians being evacuated before the final battle. This is impossible, Rexnell whispered. These records must be falsified. AEGS. Kane said, please verify the authenticity of these records. Records are authentic, the AI confirmed, cross-referenced with 17 independent data sources. Kepler Prime was a human colony world established in 2298 Imperial Calendar, population 347 million at the time of the final battle. Admiral Zexani had been quietly observing the bridge's weapon systems. Admiral Kane, even if these records are authentic, you cannot challenge the established order of the galaxy. The Federation represents over 200 species. You command fewer than 200 ships. Kane smiled grimly. Admiral, would you like a demonstration of what 200 human warships can accomplish? Before Zexani could respond, Kane activated the ship's tactical systems. The main viewer switched to show the Federation fleet holding position near the outer planets of the Kepler system. 12 Altarian battleships, 8 Cathfar dreadnoughts, and 36 support vessels. Target the uninhabited moon of Kepler 7, Kane ordered. Single quantum torpedo, minimum yield. A brilliant flash lit up space as the torpedo struck the small moon. When the light faded, the moon was simply gone, reduced to a cloud of expanding particles. The alien representatives stared in shocked silence. Admiral Zexani's face had gone pale. That's impossible. Our sensors showed that moon had a mass of approximately 50 billion tons. Commander Stone, Kane said calmly, please explain our capabilities to our guests. Stone activated a tactical display. The Titan-class battleship carries 400 quantum torpedoes, each capable of destroying a planet. Our primary weapons are matter conversion cannons that can penetrate any known shield system. We also carry gravitational disruptors, temporal field generators, and defensive systems that your sensors cannot even detect. Why? Ambassador Velterra asked weakly. Why were such weapons necessary? Kane's expression grew distant. Because, Ambassador, the Shadow Collective had the power to extinguish stars. We built these ships to fight enemies that could destroy solar systems. Your Federation has never faced true warfare. The ultimatum. Governor Rexnell attempted to salvage the situation. Admiral, even if your historical claims are valid, you cannot simply displace billions of beings who have lived on these worlds for millennia. Surely we can reach some accommodation. Kane turned to face the Cathfar leader. Governor, during the War of Shadows, humanity made the ultimate sacrifice to protect this galaxy. We lost worlds, entire civilizations, billions of lives. The survivors were left with nothing but the promise that their sacrifice meant something. He activated another display, showing population statistics. Modern humanity numbers only 800 million people across 12 worlds. Meanwhile, the Cathfar Dominion has a population of 47 billion across territories that once belonged to us. You thrived on worlds we died to defend. What do you want? Admiral Zexani asked. Kane's answer was simple and devastating. We want humanity restored to its rightful place in the galaxy. We want recognition of our sacrifice. And we want our worlds back. That's impossible. Ambassador Velterra protested. You're talking about displacing hundreds of billions of beings. The Federation has 30 days to present a proposal for the restoration of human territory, Kane announced. During that time, The Eternal Watch fleet will be taking up defensive positions around our former colonies. Any attempt to interfere with our operations will be considered an act of war. The fleet assembles. As news of the ultimatum spread across the galaxy, the Eternal Watch began to move. Ancient human warships dropped out of hyperspace around dozens of worlds, taking up positions that clearly demonstrated their power while avoiding direct confrontation. Commander Chen watched from the bridge of the Dominator as Admiral Kane coordinated the largest military operation in galactic history. "Admiral, the Federation Council is calling this an invasion. They're mobilizing every available ship." Kane nodded. "Let them come, Commander." It's time they understood the difference between peacekeeping and warfare. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Retribution had taken position over New Kepler, where the Altarian Empire had built their sector capital. The Vengeance was holding station near Titan's Rest, now the home of Zephyrian shipyards. Each human vessel faced overwhelming numerical odds, but their technological superiority was absolute. "Admiral," Commander Stone reported, "Captain Rodriguez of the Indomitable reports that the Kethvar are attempting to evacuate their core worlds. They're moving civilian populations away from our positions." "Good," Kane replied. "We're not interested in harming civilians. We're interested in justice." Dr. Vasquez looked up from her research station. "Admiral, I'm receiving communications from modern human colonies. They're asking for guidance. Many want to support your cause, but they're afraid of Federation retaliation." Kane considered this carefully. "Doctor, please send this message to all human colonies. Your ancestors died so that humanity could survive. We have returned to honor their sacrifice. Stand with us, and humanity will never again be a second-class citizen in its own galaxy." The Federation's response. The response from the galactic powers was swift and coordinated. The largest fleet in galactic history began assembling near the galactic core. Over 8,000 ships from a dozen different species, all converging to confront the human threat. Admiral Zexani took command of the combined fleet, his flagship the massive Galactic Unity. The Altarians sent one final communication to Admiral Kane before the fleet moved to engage. "Admiral Kane, you face the combined might of the galaxy. Your ships are outnumbered 40-1. Surrender now, and the Federation will consider leniency." Kane's response was broadcast on all channels throughout the galaxy. "Admiral Zexani, you command the largest fleet ever assembled. I command the most powerful fleet ever built. The difference is significant. As the Federation Armada approached the human positions, every species in the galaxy watched. This would determine the future of galactic civilization. The shadow of war." In the final hours before the confrontation, Admiral Kane stood alone on the bridge of the Dominator, looking out at the stars. Commander Chen approached quietly. "Admiral, are you certain about this course of action? Even with your superior technology, the casualties will be enormous." Kane turned to face her. "Commander, when the Shadow Collective threatened this galaxy, humanity stood alone. We fought and died while species that now claim moral authority were hiding in their home systems. We saved them all, and our reward was to be forgotten. But the people alive today weren't responsible for what happened 3,000 years ago," Chen argued. "No," Kane agreed, "but they benefited from it. They built their civilizations on the ruins of ours. They relegated us to junior status while occupying our worlds. That ends now." As the massive Federation fleet approached, Kane activated the ship's communication system one final time. "This is Admiral Marcus Kane of the original human empire, speaking to all the peoples of the galaxy. For 3,000 years, you have enjoyed peace and prosperity built on human sacrifice. Today, that debt comes due. The battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and humanity would no longer be forgotten."